Hey guys, thank you so much for coming to today's event. This meetup is co-organized by BAF and Blockchain at San Diego. I'm Noor and I'm project manager at BAF. I would like to start off with some background about the Blockchain Acceleration Foundation and our mission. We are a 501c3 nonprofit that starts university accredited blockchain courses. We build projects, we connect our members to opportunities in the space. And what's very cool about BAF is that we're governed by the leaders of our affiliated university blockchain clubs. We're very thankful for all the support that we get from our sponsors who made our work possible. BAF is actually funded by Algorand Foundation, Protocol Labs, Ethereum Foundation, and other incredible individual donors. Now I would like to introduce our amazing speaker today. We're very happy to host Sam, who is the founder of Frax Finance. And I'm going to leave the floor to Pan, who is president of Blockchain at San Diego, and who's going to be moderating today's event. Thank you so much for coming.
Hey guys, I'm Pan, and I'm from Blockchain in San Diego. Super excited for the event today, and I just wanted to first thank you all for coming. Also thank the people who are watching this asynchronously, but also wanted to thank the guys at BAF for making this possible, as well as for Sam for taking the time out of his busy schedule to join us today about um, life in crypto, which is a pretty appropriate topic, I think, for specifically for our organization, Blockchain in San Diego, given we have a pretty wide array of experience levels. I think people would really gain a new perspective on what life really is like in crypto and kind of understand more from Sam, who is a very successful project founder himself. So Sam, could you give us a little background about your history in crypto, how you got into the space, and maybe even a little story on your Doge mining days?
Yeah, for sure. Hey guys, and thanks for having me. Sam Kazemian, founder of Everipedia before Frax, and now Frax Finance. Um, yeah, so just a quick background about me. I went to UCLA. I was a double major in neuroscience and philosophy. So no CS formal like training, or never took a CS class myself. But around 2013, while I was at UCLA, I kind of overheard some of my friends talking about Bitcoin just in passing, and this is a long time ago now. And since then, after hearing them talk about it, I kind of went down the rabbit hole. I got into mining, and what was interesting is that back then it was a totally different game. It was just proof of work coins and things like that. So I started mining. Dogecoin was the first cryptocurrency I actually mined, just a couple of weeks since it got started, and the rest is kind of history from there. I founded Everipedia, which is kind of decentralized version of Wikipedia, in 2015. That's been really successful. We raised 30 million for that in 2018. My colleague and other co-founder Teddy is currently running it. In 2019, I founded Frax Finance, which is a algorithmic stablecoin. So for people that might not be familiar with the kind of terminology, stablecoins are stable cryptocurrencies that target a price peg. So one Frax is $1. It's the most common stablecoin is dollar pegged stablecoins, but the type of algorithmic stablecoins are ones that are entirely decentralized on chain with no cash or bank or company, and they target their price peg by changing the supply of stablecoins on the blockchain to meet exact demand. So they don't have exact rules of redeemability or always fully collateralized at all times like a central bank. They target the exchange rate of the currency by changing its supply, by printing coins or contracting the supply of them. Frax is doing really well. It's I think the largest algorithmic stablecoin, with the other one kind of being Fei. One thing we're really proud of with Frax is that we've never broken the peg of our stablecoin. We're the only algorithmic stablecoin that can kind of make that claim, and we have about $650 million worth of Fracs in circulation. So quickly getting to close to that $1 billion dollar mark, and it's really cool and it's growing really fast. So love to talk about it as well as any history there. So.
Thank you. Yeah, you definitely have a unique story, and given how early you kind of started. Could you kind of explain how the space has grown from 2014? Because I reckon there must have been a lot of changes in terms of the number of people, but also like the types of projects that were existing.
Yeah, 100%. One of the things when you've been through these like different cycles or, like bull markets and bear markets of cryptos, you kind of get this interesting, experience that you've lived through that other people haven't. So you kind of see similarities between cycles. And also you kind of see one of the things is all the new entrants on a particular cycle, they usually get in when everything is euphoric and like everyone's trying to make money, and prices are going up only and stuff. And then there's kind of the bear or recession phase of things, and maybe like 70-80% of those people kind of wash out or aren't interested, and then like go to other things and other industries or other hobbies and things like that. And then the next boom, a lot of people come in, and it's interesting to see because the people that stick around during like the times where everyone's like ridiculing blockchain, or like that it's overpromised or it's a scam or all these things. I've seen it all, right? Like I've seen it all back before Ethereum, when everything was kind of proof of work mining, different types of forks of the Bitcoin code base with just the proof of work torn out, and then just experimenting with script algorithms and other things like that. And then obviously when Ethereum came out, and then after it kind of started the ICO craze. What's kind of important to kind of note is if you're really, in this industry for the, technology and things like that, and you kind of put the price of stuff secondarily, like in your concerns or in your mind, it's pretty difficult not to succeed because there's just so much interesting stuff going on that if you get preoccupied with being kind of a trader or like just dabbler of this stuff where the price is the main indicator, I think it's not that novel or interesting. So one of the main things I've seen is most of those people that are in it for like the price and stuff, they're the ones that tend to watch out and leave between cycles. Now, the other thing that I'm starting to kind of realize is the sheer size of the current crypto market cap of like 2 point something trillion is so big that I'm not exactly certain that there'll actually be a crypto bear market the same way that there was in 2016 after Bitcoin went to 1300 for the first time and then died down to like 100 or $200, and then 2019, because it's such a large industry that it's more affected by macro market conditions now, and then it also affects macro market conditions in the entire world. It's this 2.5 trillion dollar industry, right? So that there's really not really, in my opinion, crypto more of like will react global recessions or depressions or booms and busts, rather than this kind of isolated thing, because it's so big. There's no way that the stuff that I was seeing in 2016 is even possible with with a $2.5 trillion industry.
So you definitely touched on a little bit like the future of crypto, where there might not be as much so as a bear market anymore. But do you have any other foreseeable like insights for, I guess, like the next 5, 10 years, of not necessarily like the price of cryptos or like the size of the industry, but certain sectors that crypto might leak into in the real world?
Well, I think, you know, being in it for a while, it's going to be everything. In fact, like I'm a big proponent of crypto as the internet of value. In fact, I definitely think people will be getting their kind of paychecks or spending stable coins and things like that in the next 3 to 5 years. Like I definitely think whether they'll you know be called stable coins or they'll just have them in like Cash App, PayPal and stuff, and they'll show dollars or something is unknown. Like I don't know if the stable coin, you know, moniker will take off. But for example, Frax hasn't even been 1 years old. We launched December 20th, 2020, and we're approaching $700 million of Frax stablecoins on chain. The growth there is so incredible and insane, right? And so you look at even the larger players like USDC and Tether, and their growth is exponential. And it just seems like uh, there's no reason why that would lower or be less relevant, right? It's almost like a coming tide of it's almost inevitable, right? And so right now the most interesting and important thing, if people want to kind of get involved in crypto, in my opinion, from the more technical side, would be DeFi and all of the new financial infrastructure, and from the gaming and the metaverse side into NFTs and things like that. And I think those will actually merge and kind of become one as NFTs become more efficient, and you'll integrated in DeFi protocols, you'll be able to take out loans against NFTs, or there'll be cash efficient assets and things like that. They'll start to blur, right? And so everything will just kind of into becoming some aspect of crypto, whether it's real world stuff, whether it's video games, whether it's banking and transactions through stable coins. So I think in the next 5 years, everyone will be using crypto, whether it continues to be called crypto or just normal money or not.
Totally agree with that, and super excited for the developments to come. You mentioned how Frax has grown super fast in just 1 year, and I'm sure a lot of people are wondering how you can go from 0 to 700 million TVL, or like not TVL, but Frax in circulation. Could you kind of elaborate on like what really propelled that growth, and how a project like yours, like Frax, achieves that type of growth so quickly?
Yeah, and obviously it's not just Frax, but the cool thing with Frax is our technology and how well it's performed, and being a decentralized stablecoin, being an algorithmic one that has like held its peg perfectly, and all of the tech that we've kind of invented and brought forth. But the main thing is like the reason any of this is possible is because of the internet. It's the same reason why in 2004, Mark Zuckerberg could create a website in his dorm room that like half of like college students are using in like 12 months. Like all like college students in the entire country started using in like years, right? Interesting like metaphor is everyone was using it, but there was like no money involved until they had to monetize and like bring ads and things like that. So the internet brings the power of like anyone literally to build anything really at scale and have like hundreds of millions of people use it from like their dorm room, right? The cool thing with crypto is that it allows you to do that, but with any kind of value transfer and money, right? And I'm literally talking here from my tiny apartment, and I'm just working here. I have a whiteboard in the back, and sometimes Jason, who's another co-founder, is here working with me, and I just work out of here. There's no like corporate offices. There's no Frax company and stuff, but $1 million worth of stablecoin in circulation. Our smart move tens of millions of dollars daily. We have almost $1 billion of liquidity across if you add up all of our liquidity on Curve, Uniswap, different things, and it's really sitting here and writing that is that with other across the world, kind of only possible because of right, like you can't ever, if you're going to a bank or a classic fintech company, kind of just bring not software to classical banking, right? And that's why crypto right now is so exciting. You bring the net scale of literally being able to sit in a tiny apartment and build like an app that everyone in the world could use, but instead of just an app and then you have to create a company and then like raise funding and have a bank account and advertise and things like that, you just directly manage the flow of value, right? Literally the flow of money. And that's extremely powerful. So for people thinking about, do I kind of go into, classical, like corporate jobs, or people call it Web 2.0, in crypto, and they call like crypto Web 3.0. You have to kind of consider that it's just a different scale of being able to build different things that are just not even possible, right? And so the way that you work in crypto is totally different because of what you're able to do. Like, we don't have a headquarters, right? Like, we are totally decentralized. Like, I work out of here. There's no Frax offices, right? There's no anything. And so people's jobs look different. It's not obviously a 9 to 5. In a certain sense, it's actually 24/7, 365, because there's no stopping of like trading or like, you always have to make sure that things are working properly, contract audits and things like that, and all the code is open source and everything like that. But there's just totally different ways of working, right? We work with people that are doing stuff for Frax across the world, some of them which I've never met, like literally. And that's only possible in crypto, right? I mean, if you think about it, how would you be able to work at a company with someone, with the company never meeting the person, the other, or anything like that? It's absolutely impossible, just because you require a bank account to pay them. You need like a background check to do this. You need all of these things, versus in crypto, you just contribute open source code, right? And that's your contribution, and you participate in how to govern the protocol and what to do, and that's all that is required. So it's actually really powerful.
I think it's definitely super cool, and it's definitely something that we're moving into. I guess the crypto people think that, including myself. But I guess you've explained quite a bit about how I guess working in crypto is very different from working in industry, working in corporate, whether that be in like white collar, blue collar jobs, or as like a software engineer at like Silicon Valley. Could you kind of explain what you do like day to day? Like, what does a day in Sam's life look like?
Yeah, so it's hectic and busy, but it's nice in the sense that I don't have anywhere to commute to. I don't have to like wake up and change and run out the door to some specific place. I get up and then I sit down here or get a coffee or something, or energy drink, and most of my day to day is actually coding, taking calls and integrations for Frax with different crypto protocols. We actually don't really talk to companies or things like that. We're very, very crypto native, just decentralized in every aspect. Like, there's no, like, I'm not running around trying to sign deals with Facebook or something like that, or anything like that in any sense. But I take calls from pretty much all over the world. So like, I am basically always working, in terms of like last night at 12 a.m. PST from California time. I was on a Zoom call with Israel and then another project in Asia, and it's just it's a round the clock thing. So it's extremely fun, and you know it's really valuable to do something that you like. But if you're kind of looking for a, I guess, work-life balance, the industry moves too fast for like being successful if you want to just basically go home and not take your work with you. But the advantage of having your work at home is it's super easy to do, but then it literally is always at home with you. You can't kind of leave your work outside. So I also think that there's no other place in any other industry right now that is as both intellectually stimulating, but also economically rewarding in terms of making money. I guess making crypto would be the better term for it, but than cryptocurrency. Like,
So I guess following on with that, like what do you love most about your job? Like one singular thing, and what do you like least? So obviously the work-life balance is one thing. Crypto never sleeps. That's kind of the saying. It's always like 24/7, 365. So just like yeah, two things that you love and you maybe like less.
yeah, that's a good question. I think you know I think just because there's like being a part of a completely new way of organizing uh, economically, right? Like there's no corporation, there's no HR, there's no like things that you have to adhere to. You just get your work done of building this protocol, and hopefully it makes the world a better place, and what you're building is, and people like it, there, there's no it's simple right now, right? There's no complicated you know interview process or like this and that. It's like you just kind of get involved in a community, literally on Telegram or Discord, and then you can contribute. And it's almost a little, in some sense, it's almost like simple and innocent. But then the bad side of that is like there's like it's easy for people to get scammed, and always see these kinds of projects that get either hacked or actually like rug, which is what the term is. They take the money or like least I don't know if there's much other than you. Well, I don't know. It's so fast paced sometimes. It's so fast paced. Not even that, crypto never sleeps, because I barely sleep anymore. But like it's so fast that you kind of you're drinking from a fire hydrant, right? It's like there's no way you can ever take in everything, and sometimes I find that overwhelming.
It makes sense. There's an abundance of things to learn every day, and yeah, it's hard to take it all in. Could we kind of rewind back a little bit to your moment that you kind of committed into crypto? I think as a student of philosophy, I feel like jumping headfirst into the industry definitely takes some sort of paradigm shift. And was there like any specific moment for you that kind of like flipped the switch? Because I feel like there's definitely a lot of people in the industry who either they came from like traditional finance or came from Fang and came to crypto and something just clicked that like they just switched careers like immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing to I background and like CS, was a neuroscience and philosophy double major at UCLA, but also there's now finally starting to be like college classes or like blockchain clubs or things like I got started there wasn't even, no one even really knew what kind of like what Bitcoin was, or like what, like if blockchain was like a thing or anything like that. And one of the things people should just realize, like, don't and think, oh, I need to learn more, or like I need to take classes, or I need to have some experience. There is no such as a structured crypto experience. Everyone is literally just learning as people. So there's absolutely no way to, there's, don't slow down. You think like you don't know enough, or anything like that. I think UCLA just had its first like 2, 3 blockchain classes ever past year or so. I was, invited to speak one before the pandemic. It was kind of funny because I was a student in that same lecture hall, I think like 3 or 4 years before that, and then now, doing a blockchain. So okay, you kind of know what this is. No one really does. So just come and like talk about it, because it's everyone wants to learn about it. So there's really nothing to formally learn. Everyone's just learning as they go. So don't think that, I need to be either a CS major, or I need to take blockchain or entrepreneurship classes, or anything like that. It's totally, the sense that it's good if you have it, obviously, but like no one, there's no precedence in this industry, right? So you should forge your own path, especially because, like, if you think about it, I have absolutely no relevance in terms of my formal schooling. Neuroscience and philosophy has literally nothing to do with business or CS or anything like that.
Yeah, awesome. Kind of going back to like a more personal question, do you personally have like a long-term goal? Obviously, you have Frax and very successful, but anything else that you have on your plate that you want to tick off?
Well, we really think that the stuff we're building at Frax can be like a top 5 cryptocurrency, which means hundreds of billions dollars in market cap. So the other thing we're building at Frax is our second stable coin called the Frax Price Index, which is a cryptocurrency that's price stable to the consumer price index. So for people that don't know, basically the US dollar is loosely pegged to the consumer price index. And that's why it's kind of useful for keeping people's standard of living the same. It's pegged to the price of food, healthcare, electronics, consumable items, so that people can buy the same things across a period of time with a inflation factor that the Fed targets, right? A lot of stable coins currently have just a really simple, we just peg to the US dollar, like one coin equals $1. And they don't think about the underlying like philosophy of why is it the dollar that's actually valuable. And they just are at the first level of, building a stable coin that stays one token, $1. We're trying to kind of, even think in terms of like Bitcoin size market cap, like like $1 trillion vision or outlook. Whereas if you really want a decentralized, permissionless kind of store of value and stable unit of account to complement something like Bitcoin, which is fixed supply and kind of like digital gold, what you need to do is you can't actually rely on a centralized unit of account that like a government can print like dollars. You want to create your own definition of stability, right? And then create on-chain smart contracts that just target that reference point, right? And so we're building the Frax Price Index, which we call the first crypto native consumer price index pegged stablecoin as our second stablecoin. And so that's kind of my grand vision, and what I'll probably be working on years into the future. So I'm really excited about that, and it's a much larger vision than another dollar peg stable coin. Maybe it becomes tens of billions of Fracs in circulation, but it's the FPI stablecoin that I think has like a chance to be top 3, top 5, top 10 cryptocurrency in the next 2-3 years.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely think like your history and philosophy definitely like helps your worldview and like thinking differently about stablecoins for sure. Kind of shifting gears a little bit, we're kind of flip-flopping a little bit, but could you kind of describe the hiring process of the industry? Like, I think you mentioned earlier you had some pseudonymous people working on Frax as well. And could you kind of elaborate on like how that's like possible in crypto, how you could like literally have no identity and be working? And how does one go from exploring into the space into like getting a dev job, or maybe even founding their own project like yourself?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my favorite parts of crypto. Like I was saying, organizing together in totally new ways that was never possible before, right? And that's why I don't even really consider it hiring for Frax. It's more like kind of volunteering, and then you get Frax share grants and like a treasury allocation of, we have the Frax share token, FXS, which is a governance token, and people that participate in, and do stuff can have a governance vote to get them grants, which are liquid tokens. And in that sense, I don't really even like to call it hiring, because then it keeps people thinking in the same sense of getting hired for like a corporate job, getting interviewed, or like sending in your resume or something like that. And I don't think any really decentralized crypto protocols even do any of that, right? Like there's crypto companies, right? Like Coinbase and stuff that are in the space. And if you try to get a job there, it's just like a normal company that just happen to do crypto stuff, right? But for stuff like Frax, or for stuff like Sushi Swap, if people have heard of that, it's a automated market maker that was always ran by anonymous devs, and they came and went, and new people have joined, and old anonymous people have left, and they get sushi tokens and things like that. For real, like fully decentralized stuff, there's no like interview process or anything, and you just kind of you get into the community on the Discord and Telegram. You kind of contribute ideas. If you're a developer, you actually look at the code, because it's always public, it's always open source. Help people working on different code push some code, and it's good, and it's in production, right? They deploy it on mainnet, and everyone likes working with anyone, and it doesn't matter, right? If it's, if you've ever even met, it's really just and it's all public. The public, people see the person contributing, and people vote whether they should get a grant or compensation of Frax share tokens or things like that. So different. It's different than working or like a company that try to not even use the word hire. It's more like joining the community and then a grant compensation of tokens. No one ever has like a resume to submit and stuff, and it's just completely different. It's like 21st century versus 20th century thinking. Is just entirely different. Now, obviously, there's companies that are crypto companies, so like they work in the crypto space and they hire classically. But if people are interested in getting involved in like real decentralized protocols, there's no revenue. There's none of that, which is pretty cool in my opinion.
I think that's something super unique that crypto, or the whole crypto industry brought to life. For someone who kind of has like zero experience, for the people attending that basically don't really know anything about crypto at all, maybe they know how to code in other languages, but not in like Solidity or any smart contract language. What resources do you recommend people consult to learn more? Whether it be like courses or different resources.
Yeah, so like in UCLA classes, there's now a bunch of stuff online, right, and free and things like that. There's a lot of blockchains to develop on, but to be honest, I think the most important skill is being able to write Solidity smart contracts is the most used, standard. There's a lot of EVM blockchains. They use the same Ethereum virtual machine kind of structure. And so if you can write Solidity, you can easily deploy code to Ethereum, Polygon, Phantom, Avalanche, different Polkadot, EVM chains, all of these things, right? And obviously there's more esoteric dev kind of structures like Algorand is cool. You guys said that they are sponsors. They have a totally different stack, different programming language, different things. So if you become really good at that, one thing you have to consider on that, and then you have something else. But I would highly recommend people to just check out how to write, test Solidity smart contracts. That's basically the most thing right now, and then you can literally start contributing your kind of favorite project by getting involved in their community stuff, and then seeing, hey, are you guys building something, or can I just like volunteer and build this and that? You'll quickly get the feeling that you're kind of part of the team, because it's very welcoming. It's very friendly, especially for people that want to contribute.
Definitely. I think you definitely hyped up a lot of attendance, and a lot of students are definitely really excited to get started on, I guess, their crypto journey themselves. I guess right now is kind of a perfect time to transition into the AMA portion of the event. So if you guys have any other questions, you guys can send them in the Q&A, but for now, I'll try and pick the ones that have already been asked.
Should I just go from the top? I can see them.
I'm just having a look. I think I can pick some of them because there's quite a lot. But I think the first one is if there are any cultural barriers and issues that you faced when you were working with a team of like pseudonymous plus people from all around the world. Like, does everything go smoothly?
Yeah, to be honest, you'd be surprised how more smoothly it goes than the traditional way of the kind of corporate way of things, because you're only working with them on like merit and on a very narrow thing, right? I mean, then if you become friends or meet them in real life, then again, there's like more complicated in terms of like relationship of maybe differences, views, or whatever. But like, actually, I'm really hopeful that like a lot of this kind of work culture is more efficient and much better, actually, because you don't even, there is nothing to actually talk about other than work or kind of online stuff and blockchain and crypto, and you kind of choose kind of what to reveal, even if you want to get them other than just coding and things like that. And usually people do, right? They make really good friends and things like that. But the only thing that is kind of difficult is, since it's so global, time zones are so difficult. I was saying last night I was up at 12 a.m. Taking a call, and other sometimes 11 p.m., 1 a.m. or something. And we have people in Europe, for example, do a lot of Frax stuff, and it's interesting because now my mind is like, I know when I wake up in the morning, they probably done with their day, right? And then when they stop responding around like 3 p.m. Pacific time, then it's like 11 p.m. over there, so they probably like retired for the night, right? So that's the only thing that's difficult, but it's kind of cool how global it is. But it is kind of a shock because some people only interact with people around their same time zone, right? It's like maybe 1 or 2 hours difference, but that's not at all the case in crypto.
Yeah, yeah. The time zones are definitely very gnarly. Are there some tips that you would give to people to kind of keep up with everything going on in the crypto space, given it moves so fast?
Yeah, to be honest, most of the kind of crypto culture or like news and stuff breaks on Twitter. So like I actually have this like huge curve screen monitor, and like part of it is like code, and then the other half is like stuff I'm doing for Frax, either on Telegram, which is a lot of where the social stuff happens, or like basically my contact book of people to connect to. And then the other part is actually Twitter. Believe it or not, it is part of the job, because every kind of breaking thing or new protocol releases or things like that, or even bad stuff like, oh crap, this was hacked for like $100 million or something, always breaks out on Twitter first. So the coolest thing is you can basically start really learning about crypto by just starting to follow some of the people that you like and the projects that you like, and then just start following all the stuff that they retweet that you think is interesting, and you'll basically build like a comprehensive web of the most interesting things to you in the crypto space.
I can definitely second that. I am on Twitter today, scrolling indefinitely, and
Same.
it's definitely it's definitely an experience. Someone else asked, considering that more than 90% of jobs in crypto are remote, have you ever thought of traveling and working around the world?
That's actually a good question, because of crypto, I've actually seen a lot of the world, because I get invited to speak at conferences and things like that. And then so much so recently, because of a lot of interest in Frax and stuff, that I actually was recently in Dubai, and then before that New York, and then in Vegas for a close conference around here. But then before all that stuff, before the pandemic, I was everywhere. I was in like Tokyo, Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, London, Scandinavia, and so I wouldn't be traveling the world working. I actually already kind of get pulled to go and stuff. So I'm actually really happy, to be honest, to be back home and just working in a familiar environment. But yeah, if you get into the crypto space, you'll definitely be traveling a lot, whether it's if you're speaking in conferences or just moving around, especially because you can do the work anywhere, right? So I've definitely been to my fair share of places. It's been really awesome. And if I really wanted to go to all the conferences that I could go to, I would never be home. So I try to go to one every 2 months, maybe 1 or 2 every 2.5 months.
Yeah, that makes sense. Otherwise, you'd be traveling way more than you'd be spending time at home.
Exactly. So some people
I
like that, though. I mean, that could be like an interesting thing. That if that's the kind of lifestyle that appeals to you, it is really cool. So that's a big perk, actually. I think crypto is very travel friendly, and you can decide to just be sedentary at home, or you could be kind of the crypto nomad, the digital nomad life.
Yeah, and I feel like as I guess more places are more crypto friendly, you can kind of just like take your wallet and just go anywhere in the world and just spend that.
Yeah, my favorite places, by the way, out of everywhere that I've been, Dubai, Singapore, and Hong Kong was pretty cool. But my top two, Singapore and Dubai, they're awesome.
Oh yeah, my bucket list for sure. All right, Samer has a question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
I just wanted to ask, thinking back to when you were finding the solution or creating the problem that Fairfax is solving, what were the mental models, if you could put it into it, you were using to generate the problem, to ask the right questions and generate the problem, and then
You mean for like creating Fracs, or like how, like what's the problem? Like how did I figure out the problem and then come up with a solution, so to speak? Is that the question?
I think so. I think he froze, but I think that's what I heard too.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things where, you know, knowing kind of where the space is going is kind of important. You kind of start building an intuition of where you think the space is going to go 6 to 12 months ahead, and you try to build around it and see what the most needed things are, right? Like for example, my current problem solution kind of thing is that crypto needs stable coins, right? They need things that are stable in purchasing power so that people can invest in things on chain in a decentralized way and then hold value, like exit their investments and realize them in dollar units or things that are stable, right? And I think the next thing where things are going to go is people are going to say, well, what is stability in terms of dollars? It's the ability to track a standard of living, right? And the Fed tracks the consumer price index and makes sure that the dollar's purchasing power is relatively stable against food, rent. And I think where the market is going is they're going to say next, is it possible to create a decentralized algorithmic version of that that has the items to track and things like that on chain rather than having just stable coins that are always right, just these dollar equivalents. And I think that's where things are going, and so that's why, for example, right now Frax is the only one building a crypto native CPI stablecoin. And we'll see if we're right. So the main thing to do is see where everything is going in like 12 months, and if you're right, if you build it now and you do a good job, then you'll be at the top of the industry, right, in 12 months.
thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we have time for one last question from the Q&A. Someone asked, how did you go about doing your ICO, and did you need someone to host it for you? And did you try to secure like funding from VCs beforehand?
Yeah, so just as a clarification and also, I guess, a regulatory comment, Frax nor Everipedia or anything has ever done an ICO. So the term is used a lot, but we've never sold tokens in any sense to retail U.S. citizens or anything like that, or solicited any kind of U.S. citizens in the retail space or anything. And in fact, what's interesting is ICOs are really not a thing anymore since the original 2017 kind of hype cycle, for obvious regulatory reasons, as well as there's just more decentralized ways to distribute your tokens, right? Your protocol's tokens, then sell them, and then you take the money and decide what to do with it, because then that looks and are and I think change, but other ones are relevant and correct. So never done anything. Try to get people to invest. So obviously this is all education and not investment. But for like Frax, for example, the Frax share tokens, which are the governance token, people buy those if they think the protocol will do well. Like they should hopefully go up if the protocol works. Again, not investment advice. You can farm those. We don't sell them. We've never sold. What that in farming in terms of crypto is that you can provide liquidity on chain in a decentralized manner, permissionless manner, and you get rewarded these tokens. And Frax is definitely not the only one that does this. We have, many ways to earn it. Just earn the tokens, and what the does because it keeps the peg stable for Frax on the blockchain. It also gives a fully decentralized way to distribute the token, like mining, right? It's a totally on-chain method, and basically, if you create a company, you raise, investment with shares. If you create a crypto protocol, you distribute both legally as well as in a decentralized manner and that. So, there's a lot, big institutional VC backers of Frax, and they hold a lot of tokens, but we've never done an ICO, and there's no company to own shares of. Like, people that back it have basically bought tokens, both on the market or farm through DeFi programs.
Gotcha. So did you guys have to inject like liquidity initially, like right at the start?
Yeah, people that really did that at the beginning in December 2020, and stuck around to doing that. I think I don't obviously for sure, but I'm quite confident they've made a lot of money, especially if they've stuck around in the growth of Frax, as well as the yield rates. If people look around the DeFi space, and this isn't just exclusive to Frax, but the yield rates for doing these kinds of yield farming are really super. I see savings account at a bank or something, obviously, but there's yield rates from 10 all the way up to 100% or something. You double your money in a year for a lot of protocols that aren't even super small. Like, you can actually earn significantly long time. Obviously, smart contract risk as well as these crypto risk, but like the yield rates are you can make good money by just doing stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah. Yield farming is definitely something to look into for sure. I think that's kind of all we have for today. If you're in this call right now or you're watching asynchronously, definitely follow Sam on Twitter. He recently just posted like a really interesting thread about how everything leads to Frax, which I agree with that, and I think Frax is going to do extremely well in the future. And definitely be sure to also follow us at Blockchain San Diego. I just want to thank you again, Sam, for being here and telling us about life in crypto and giving us advice on how we can get in and start our journey.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, and
Yeah.
in the community, try it out, and just join. Follow us on Twitter, Telegram, super available. So thanks, everyone.